Welcome into another edition of 11 Personnel No Huddle. I'm stumbling over my words because we've got a big time guest today. Steve Wiltfong, the recruiting guru from On 3 Rivals, is joining us today. Talk a little football recruiting. The Cats, they're doing it now. They're doing a lot of it with Will Stein. And we're here brought to you by our friends at Monticello Bank, proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. Visit them online, nbcbank.com. Steve, I've got to, but you can give us the names, and you give us plenty of names on KS Board. It's great to see you over there. I actually had one person on KS Board ask you, how hard was it to find the board once Will Stein was hired? Was it difficult to figure out where to find us?
Nah, man. Well, there's two boards. I was only aware of one. Management had to reach out to me and say, we got two boards now. So I'm on them both and excited to be there because Kentucky football recruiting is rocking and rolling, ripping and roaring as Will Stein and this coaching staff have casted a wide net nationally in trying to build this program into a college football playoff contender sooner rather than later. I thought they did a really good job in the transfer portal. And look, you talk about Coach Stein was one of the top coordinator recruiters in the country. Joe Sloan gets after it. Jay Bateman's always had a knack for recruiting, really like what they've done with this off-field recruiting department. Pat Biondo, Pete Noctis, some of the best in it. Cutter Leftwich, O-line coach, is already kind of resonating with top targets out on the trail. So Kentucky football is in a very exciting place. There is a buzz about the Wildcats, and with that, we are writing about it. We go where the good news is. Sometimes fan bases are like, Steve doesn't like us or Rivals doesn't like us. Well, what do you want us to say, man? You're not recruiting anybody and you're not winning. Kentucky is recruiting people right now. The winning looks like it's going to come. I know Will Stein is very excited to be back in his home state coaching the Kentucky Wildcats, and recruits feel that. The energy around the building, it's contagious. The chemistry that this coaching staff has is quickly resonating with recruits, families, and their circle of trust as they come in and visit. And Kentucky's on a lot of top school lists going into this spring.
There's some players I want to get to, and there's some questions that we have from our good friends at KSR Plus. But if you aren't joined, just $1 for 5 days, give us a try, or a week. I forget all the promos. We've got tons of them, and you can get the national one too now, just for $20 to get all the national insiders. But I did have just a general question, just recruiting big picture, because you've done this for a very long time, and it's changed a lot in the last few years. First it was portal NIL, now it's rev share. Just is the nature of recruiting, like how much of it has actually changed over the last 10 years? Or is it kind of like what Stein says, like are relationships still the biggest sort of driver when it comes to getting these kids signed and putting pen to paper?
Well, in my opinion, first and foremost, you have to have a product that people want to play for. So you have to have, in Kentucky's case, good resumes on your coaching staff, guys that have proven over the course of their career that they have coached at a high level, have had schemes and offenses and defenses that are exciting to play in, and have coached players that have flourished. So you have to have that substance. Then relationships after that. Connecting with top targets, making them feel comfortable with you, getting them excited about their potential to play for you in your program. Then you got to have the NIL, the dollars and cents. Not for everybody, but for most prospects that you're recruiting, there is going to be some kind of NIL discussion. Maybe you can get a hometown discount every once in a while, but you got to be well armed in all arenas. I do think that to get to that third thing, you have to have the first two, a product and relationships, before you even start talking NIL. You hear people all the time saying, oh, they just bought this guy. They just bought this guy. Yes, but to be in line to purchase, you have to check some boxes before you can even have those discussions. And every school is buying a guy here or there, but they are doing so within the realm of good relationships and having a product that's exciting. These guys want to play well on Saturday. They want to be developed. They want to play in the NFL. They want to hear their names called early in the NFL draft. Some of these guys, if you're in Kentucky's position, they want to be part of history, a legacy in college that they can leave behind forever. Those are exciting things. but you can't show up to a gunfight with a knife either. So you have to have the resources to recruit some of these kids. And I think Coach Stein and this coaching staff are rallying excitement around the program in that regard as well.
So the new coach pop, I mean, it's obviously like not – we've seen it before, like Mark Stoops at one point. Yeah. Well, that's kind of my question for you because, like, in 2014, Kentucky had the number 1 ranked class for, a week or two, right? Like you get that kind of early momentum. I know you see it at other schools too. When you get the new coach, there's a lot of energy. I know James Franklin's kind of bringing that to Virginia Tech right now. But what is there anything that Stein and this coaching staff is doing that is different than the normal just kind of new coach pop?
Yeah, I just think that from Kentucky's perspective, Coach Stein is a younger, more engaged recruiter from the corner office than the previous regime. So with that, he has been more hands-on with all the top targets and quickly connecting with them. Certainly you have the transfer portal now where he was able to kind of flex and showcase his ability and go out there and land some top guys in the portal, flip a Kenny Minchie at quarterback, get Tigra to Shabola, beat Indiana for CJ Baxter, land Nick Anderson, who's a talented receiver that's had some injuries, Tavian Wallace. The old coaching staffs didn't have a chance to just get hired and then instantly just land impact players right out of the portal that can help you win. So the portal helped him make an impact. I think they're in good position for some 2027 recruits. Mm-hmm. And it's a top-down approach, but everybody's engaged in working hard and trying to make sure they get players here quickly because it's results business now right away.
Yeah.
You don't get money rebuilding years in college football in this day and age. You mentioned James Franklin. He was fired after what I thought was 12 great years at Penn State. And sometimes things run its course. But Kentucky hiring Will Stein was a shot in the arm with excitement, a program that had some good years under Coach Stoops, some competitive teams, some exciting times. But it was a place ready for a new chapter. And, mm-hmm. and Coach Stein is here and has reinvigorated this program and really has put more excitement around it than I've seen in a long time.
Well, and part of that, I don't know how you rattle off these names, Steve. Like there's so many names out there. I don't know how you do it. Andre Adams
here.
But like Andre Adams, I wanted to call him Eric Andre. I wanted to call him Eric Adams. And it's like, no, he's not the comedian. He's not the former mayor of New York City. I don't know how you keep all your ducks in a row. So a tip of the cap to you, sir.
Well, I do my best. I appreciate you saying that. Obviously, Kentucky's recruiting some more high-profile names where it's easier to recall them and tell you what's going on with their processes. In the Stoops era, they were finding good players, but maybe it was the third or fourth guy down the board in the state of Georgia, so it wasn't someone in my crosshairs. Doesn't mean that they weren't going to come to college with a high developmental upside and ultimately be an NFL draft pick. Kentucky's now in the mix for more of these high-profile guys right now because this coaching staff has pre-existing relationships maybe from where they were before, but just ready to roll their sleeves up and get after it and compete against the teams that they're trying to beat on the fields on Saturday for recruits right now.
So a lot of those high-profile names, I mentioned one of them. There's Keegan Croucher too. That's a big-time quarterback. I know Elijah Haven. Like if you're a top 5 to 10-ish quarterback, Stein is recruiting you. Jake Narat.
Yep, they just offered him.
Yeah, Israel Abrams. Is there any? If you had to, your best guess, who do you think the kind of top 2 that they end up narrowing in on?
The board's always fluid. Obviously, they've cast a pretty wide net there. There's no question that Will Stein loves Keegan Croucher. He's one of his top targets at Oregon. Was his first offer at Kentucky, I believe. I do think Keegan Croucher is going to take some visits, committed to Ole Miss. He's back home this week visiting with his family because he's at Baylor School in Chattanooga now. So he's boarding for his final year of high school. So he's getting ready for his senior year, but he's back home this week. He knows Will Stein loves him. Could Kentucky make a run there? I don't know. We'll see. Andre Adams is target numero uno, in my opinion, right now. Had a fantastic junior season. out of the state of Tennessee, someone that I think is tailor-made to come into Will Stein's offense and make quick decisions and be accurate with the football and also have dual threat ability. And I think if Andre Adams looks at some of the quarterbacks that Will Stein has mentored and some of the offenses that he's called from UTSA to certainly Oregon, it's an exciting opportunity for him. And I know he's pumped to get to Kentucky. Auburn and Mississippi State are his top two. Izzy Abrams is another quarterback that Kentucky's recruiting. He's got a couple visits set for Kentucky. I have Auburn trending there. This is a quarterback domino type deal, which could help with Kentucky and Andre Adams. Elijah Haven's in the mix. Joe Sloan's known him a long time. He's trending to Alabama, but I think there's some intrigue with Kentucky because of the relationship with Sloan. Same goes with the Nussmeier kid in the Lone Star State. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up on Kentucky's campus at some point. They just offered Jake Narod. He's an Iowa legacy recruit. We'll see if Kentucky can make a move there. And there's other guys that they offered, Davin Davidson. So certainly they're in on the big name guys. Coach Stein is, coached Heisman finalists and terrific offenses and certainly helped. He coached Bo Nix in his final season, getting him ready for the NFL. So it's an exciting opportunity to be offered by Will Stein and Joe Sloan and Kentucky's offense. It's not long ago we saw Lynn Bowden taking all the snaps in Athens, Georgia. So It's been a while since this has been a prolific, exciting offense to watch. I think that's going to change under this coaching staff. Will Stein's one of the top young offensive minds in college football, and quarterbacks have taken notice. Andre Adams, to me, is probably the top target at the position, but everything's always fluid.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that our fans are tired of me sharing this stat, but 2010 was the last time Kentucky had a 3,000-yard passer, Mike Hartline, and Will Stein's had two 4,000-yard passers in the last 4 years. So
the game's changed a little bit, but yeah, it's been a while. Again, Lynn Bowden at Georgia, very winnable game. And you're playing him under center, man. And he was a hell of a player. And so we'll see. Yeah. Well, there won't be Wildcat. There will not be consistent Wildcat for Big Blue Nation this year.
Well, and they had to hear about that on the trail too. I remember there was a lot of quotes from guys like, do you want to go to Kentucky play receiver and learn how to block? They had to deal with that sort of stuff. I want to turn, before we wrap up, I want to turn our attention to just the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I know you're based out of Indiana, but you Midwest, the whole nation,
man.
Well,
when's the last time the Kentucky All-Stars come up here and beat the Indiana All-Stars? Has it happened recently, Nick?
Your town has been a house of horrors between the basketball team going up there and losing seemingly every time they play in Indy. I like going to Indy. I like Kilroy's. What are the stuffed pizza thing? The stuffed what are they called?
It's the best sports town in the country. We got the Final Four this year. First of all, the cost of living here, best big city in the country, but the sports that we get up here, the way that we treat people, the preparation and things that we have in place for major sporting events. I know people like to point to Vegas and people like to point to LA, but Indianapolis is the best sports city in the country. I'm excited to talk to you about that, but I think we need to pivot back to Kentucky football because I am very aware of the rivalries our states have.
But just in general, can you recall a more talented recruiting class than the one in 2027? Because, that's been the kind of biggest worry is people say, well, they don't have enough kids to just recruit in state. But there might be 20 power conference recruits in this 2027 class. And you know what? They've already got a couple commits in Brady Hall and LaRon Westmoreland, who you said, could end up.
LaRon Westmoreland is an absolute stud. He has got a lot of potential, going to play in the secondary for Kentucky, but as a frame to grow into someone that can make some things happen in the second level, maybe be a Kyle Hamilton type Swiss Army knife on defense, with the ability to come up around the line of scrimmage, erase mismatches in coverage. Still just the tip of the iceberg of what he can be. That was a major recruiting win. And he was on the verge of committing to Louisville. Kentucky is where he wanted to be, though, and the Wildcats were able to get that done. And so tremendous recruiting win, and someone that I think is very stock up, had a tremendous junior season on both sides of the ball. Yeah, there's a lot of potential difference makers in the state of Kentucky. You got to take advantage this year. I also think that Ohio and some of these Midwest states, the opportunity to play in the SEC but be close to home is also exciting. Tyler Fryman, if you can get Tyler Fryman, and flip a Jahide Brown, those are electric playmakers. I mean, Tyler Fryman can go, and I don't even think he has not even invested as much time in the football as he's going to on the next level, but he is a smooth, dynamic playmaker. And Jahide Brown obviously led the state in every major category. Is a fantastic player. He has visited Kentucky since tripping to Indiana, and I think the Wildcats are still very much alive there. So if they're able to get those two guys, hit on the quarterback, and then certainly get Seneca Driver, all of a sudden you have the makings of a potential dynamic, exciting offense with mismatches, guys that can beat you in a number of ways, with a quarterback that proved to be very accurate with the football as a junior. Now they got to go out and get all these guys.
Right.
They're one of the top schools for Andre Adams. I think they're one of the top schools for Fryman. Got some work to do with Brown. Obviously, the predictions are in for Seneca Driver right now, but Oklahoma's not going to make it easy. Tennessee's not going to make it easy. Notre Dame's all in on Seneca Driver, and there's other programs that keep popping up for him as well. So even though the predictions on Kentucky, those are fluid also.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that you have Vince Marrow at Louisville with Jeff Brom, two big names in this state. And then Indiana, little old Indiana, goes and wins a national championship. So it feels like it could – the competition, like it's not easy for Will Stein. Like I is that fair to say? Like he's walking into a highly competitive recruiting environment in this region.
No question. Now, Indiana winning the national championship is obviously exciting for anyone. For them to win the Big Ten, which was the best conference in college football the last several seasons, and I know that might raise an eyebrow in SEC country. The Big Ten coaching staffs from top to bottom of that league are the best in college football, in my opinion. And why that should excite Kentucky is if Indiana can go into that league, win it, and then continue that through the college football playoff and win it all. Obviously, anyone can do it. Now, just because anyone can do it doesn't make it any easier. Indiana was able to have 12 kids transfer from James Madison and end up being some of the best players at IU. They were an older veteran roster, but there's a formula there of taking production over potential, but still taking guys that have the measurements and physicality to be good college football players. Having a strong culture, having a schematic advantage still matters. Indiana obviously had a schematic advantage, particularly on defense, but certainly on offense as well. And they got guys to play fast and physical, and they had depth. And so there's a blueprint out there for teams to follow. Kentucky, I think they're going to have one of the more exciting offenses in college football with Will Stein at the helm of this program based on his history. I think that Kentucky is getting the resources in position to make moves to get the roster in place. Indiana did that as well. Signetti rallied the support to go out there and hit big at quarterback in the transfer portal a couple times. You don't win a national championship if you don't hit big in the portal. Now, Kenny Minchie, he's got a couple years too. He's very talented. Damn near won the starting quarterback job at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's starting quarterback comes back as one of the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy, and Notre Dame is one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to win the national championship this year. So Kenny Minchie, who comes into Kentucky's program, Notre Dame would take him back. I mean, they loved him, just didn't win the starting job. He leaves there on good standing and was a good teammate, really competitive guy that has the talent and the tools, that was the most accurate guy at the Elite 11 finals competition, had a tremendous junior year of high school, got hurt as a senior, was committed to Pitt, who's kind of become a farm system for major college football teams across the country with the guys. I mean, Narduzzi's a good coach. They develop at a high level. But Minchie's now at Kentucky. They flip him from Nebraska, and you get multiple years out of a transfer portal quarterback. That is very exciting, and it starts there, and you build from there.
I got one final question with you, Steve. I appreciate you joining us today. If you all want more of Steve Wiltfong, the Wiltfong Whip Around is every week on the Rivals YouTube channel, and you're obviously following him on
And
Twitter.
I'll be on KSR a lot. All that information's on KSR first. So sign up, tell them Wiltfong sent you. I'm excited to get over there and talk ball with y'all. And it's just an exciting time to be around Kentucky football, be a Kentucky fan. It's only 3.5 hours away from my house. I've been over to the football facility a couple times over the last couple of years. I'm looking forward to getting back down there around this new coaching staff sometime in the near future.
So one thing about the coaching staff that's unusual for me, Steve, is that they're all about my age. There's a lot of young guys on there in their 30s who seem to be very hungry. But I do think one of our members, SEC First, pointed out, like, can an inexperienced offensive line coach like Cutter Leftwich, who, he has obviously ties in Texas and he was at Oregon, but can he go toe-to-toe and beat out some of the big SEC programs for top-tier offensive line talent?
Well, he's doing a good job of building the relationships with top targets, and they are excited about Kentucky football. They're going to come to spring practices and see his coaching style, see how these guys on the team are coming along, get feedback from the players on the team. So all of that's important. So is the Quan.
Hey, what'd you say? You gotta have the right.
Can't show up to a gunfight with a knife, man. And
right. You got to check some boxes before you get.
You got to pick and choose your spots. You can't. You got to be selective on how you use those funds and who you give them to. Mm-hmm. But first and foremost, you got to have a good product and good relationships. And Kentucky's setting the tone, setting the table for an exciting recruiting class in 2027.
Well, Steve, thanks for setting the table with us. People, they're fired up. The future is exciting. It's bright. It hadn't felt this way in a long time. And we're glad that you joined us today on 11 Personnel. And glad to see you over on KS Board and talking with the folks all the time. It's fun. It's great. It's great to have you. And it's fun chatting with you today.
Let's keep it rolling. You guys take care.
All right. Thanks, Steve.